وعلى آله وأصحابك يا نور الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. Alhamdulillah, once again we are gathered here today to learn important rulings and regulations about our beautiful religion. Alhamdulillah, last week or 2 weeks prior to this, we covered the chapter of tayammum and we completed this chapter. Now inshallah, we're going to cover the chapter of how to clean oneself after relieving oneself or going to the toilet and bathroom. Now inshallah, today we shall talk about Khuff or Mose, as we know them as leather socks. And we're going to inshallah find out the rulings regarding leather socks. Many of us, we see people, or maybe we are indulged in ourselves, we perform masah upon any sock that we're wearing. It might be a bit cold outside, or you might be in a place where it's not suitable to remove your shoes, so you just do masah over your socks or over your shoes. Okay? Now, let's inshallah today we'll learn what types of masah, what types of shoes or socks we are allowed to do masah on, and when we are allowed to do masah on, and other rulings about these socks, leather socks. So inshallah, first we shall begin with a few ahadith, a few sayings of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with regards to leather socks. Imam Ahmad, Abu Dawood, as the Mughira radiallahu ta'ala anh, he says that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he performed masah over his khuff, over his leather socks. I asked him, have you forgotten? Meaning, do you forget to remove them and wash your feet? The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, no, but you have forgotten. My Lord has commanded me to do this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to wipe his khuff, wipe his leather socks. In Dar Qutni, and the narrator is Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He says the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he gave permission to perform the masah on the khuff for 3 days and 3 nights for a traveller, and 1 day and 1 night for a settler, meaning a muqim. So we are all settlers here. We are living in Leighton or in London, so we are classed as settlers. A musafir is somebody who is travelling more than 57.5 miles. Okay, so somebody travelling from Birmingham or other towns and cities which are 57.5 miles away from here, they are classed as travellers. For them, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that they are allowed to wear leather socks for how many days and nights? 3 days and 3 nights. And for a settler, meaning we are only allowed to wear it for 1 day and 1 night, and then we should take it off and then do wuzu and can put it back on again. But inshallah, we should cover these rulings later. In Abu Dawud Sharif, Ali radiallahu ta'ala, he says that if religion was from using our intellect, so if we were to deduce rulings, if we were to work out rulings using our intellects, if I was to ask you a question, that if common sense was to prevail, where would you clean your feet? The top or the bottom? If you were to clean your feet, which part would you clean? The bottom. As Ali radiallahu ta'ala, he says, and what a beautiful saying this is. He says that if religion was from our own intellect and common sense, then we would wipe the leather socks from the bottom. But because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wiped from the top, then we shall obey the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the actions of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they override all our common sense and our intellects. So we should follow the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam blindly. Why? Because he was the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And upon him was the revelation revealed. So this is the companions, as they are Ali subhanallah, that if we were to work things out using our common sense, then we would wipe our masah leather sock from the bottom. But because the Messenger wiped it at the top, then we should do the same as well. Subhanallah. So this was a love of the companions for the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In Abu Dawud Sharif and Tirmidhi Sharif, as the Mughira bin Shu'bah radiallahu ta'ala, he says that he saw the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam perform the masah of the khuff over the top. Okay? Not the bottom, but the top. Now, whosoever is wearing leather socks, whosoever is wearing khuff, then he should perform masah over the socks as opposed to washing the feet. Okay? Now, before he can start wiping, okay, the leather socks, there are a few conditions. And inshallah, we're going to go through these conditions. So the socks should cover the ankles. So inshallah, I'm going to do a practical demonstration now. So inshallah, sometimes by looking at something being happening, a person retains it to memory well and just being, spoken to. So this is a leather sock. Now the rule is, a leather sock should be performed after you perform wuzu. So it should be worn after you've performed wuzu. So when you perform wuzu, all the elements of wuzu, washing your hands, your gargling, cleaning your nose, your face, and washing your arms, doing the masah, and then washing the feet, okay? And then you can put your leather sock on. So this leather sock, as you can see, it should cover the ankles. So let's say I've done my wuzu, and I put it on. And you will see there's a hole there as well, okay? So there's a ruling regarding that as well. I deliberately chose this leather sock because it's got a hole in it, and you'll know why. So the leather sock should cover the ankle, okay? It should cover the ankle. It should be tight, okay? It's relatively tight, okay? It's not loose. Loose meaning that if you were to walk, it'd come off, okay? So it's relatively tight.
Well, with the socks you're wearing, you cannot wear that socks.
No, inshallah, that condition will come, inshallah. Okay. So inshallah, yeah. So it should be tight so one can walk with ease. So if I was to walk with this, alhamdulillah, it's easy. Okay? It's just like wearing a sock. So this is another condition. It should be able to wear and you can walk. So it should not be loose. The sole, this is the answer to your question. The sole, okay, or the bottom, at least the bottom, should be made out of a material which is waterproof. Waterproof. It should be impermeable to water. So water cannot pass through it. Nor should it retain water. You know, you get sponges. Sponges retain water, they hold water. This cannot be like that. Okay? This cannot hold water. Okay? It should be waterproof and impermeable. So, wiping the socks, is that permissible? No. No. This is the reason why the scholars say that they should be impermeable. They should be waterproof. Okay? Therefore, it is not allowed to do masah over the socks. And we see many brothers do this. This is not permissible. Your masah will not be valid. Okay? And consequently, your namaz will not be valid as well. So masah should be done on a sock, a leather sock. Leather is obviously impermeable. It is waterproof. And even if that's made up of this material, okay, and the bottom is leather, then that's fine. Okay? So the condition is the bottom should be leather and it should be waterproof. And it should be worn after wuzu. Okay? So it should be worn after a wuzu. So let's say you just done wuzu. Okay, you've done wuzu, and before wearing this, you release wind. You went back to the toilet. Okay? Then you have to do wuzu again and then wear it. Okay? So having done wuzu, so between doing wuzu and wearing the leather sock, there has to be no impurity. Or you should not, do something which breaks your wuzu. If you do, then you have to perform wuzu again and then wear your leather socks. So leather socks can only be worn after you've performed wudu. Okay? Now the next condition. Not allowed to be worn after tayammum. We covered the chapter of tayammum, and if there is no water present, there's a lack of water, and you do tayammum, then you cannot wear leather socks after tayammum. So they should not be worn in the state of janaba, nor after a person became junub. Janaba means a person whose ghusl breaks. Now we covered this in a few weeks ago. For males, 3 things break ghusl. The first is to have intercourse with your wives. The second is a wet dream. Or third is that the fluid discharges from your body, okay, through lust and through desire. These 3 things break a man's ghusl, and he has to perform ghusl. So you cannot wear a leather sock when you're in this state of janaba, in this state of major impurity. If you are, you should do ghusl, do wuzu, and then you can wear your leather sock. And it should be within the time frame for a traveller and settler. Okay? So, this is the next condition. So, obviously for a muqim, okay, muqim, we are muqim, how many days for us?
1 day.
1 day and 1 night. And for a musafir? 3 days and 3 nights. Okay. So let's say I wore my leather sock at 6 o'clock. Okay, I wore it. When my wuzu breaks, okay, when wuzu breaks, it means hadath, a minor impurity. When my wudu breaks, that's when the time period starts. Let's say I wore it now at 6 o'clock, okay, and my wudu broke at 8 o'clock. That's when my day begins now. From 8 o'clock till 8 o'clock the following day, that's when I have to remove them, okay? Now you can remove them before that time as well. So let's say I wore it now at 6 o'clock, my hadath started at, I went to the toilet at 8, so then my time starts, and then I took it off at 12 o'clock, that's fine, okay? Then I have to obviously perform wudu again, and then wear them again if I want to. Now these leather socks, okay, inshallah I'll actually cover that in the next few rulings. So the time period begins from the first hadath, meaning the first impurity. It doesn't begin when you first worn them, but it begins when you first broken your wuzu whilst you were wearing them. Like I said, I wore them now, I've just done wuzu, I wore them now at 6 o'clock, and I went to the toilet at 8. That's my first hadath. That's when my time period of 24 hours begins. And how many days for a traveller? 3 days and 3 nights. Okay? SubhanAllah. Right, the next condition is a hole is present, but is less than 3, the area equal to 3 small toes when walking. Okay, so that's why I wore one which was a bit ripped. Okay, now the condition is that when I'm walking, then less than 3 toes should show. If it's more than 3 small toes of your, obviously, your foot, then Masah is not allowed. You can't wear that leather sock. Okay, so if let's do a practical demonstration. When I walk, how much do you think can you see? How much can you see? Nothing. You can't see anything. Although it's ripped, you can't see anything. So this Masah, this leather sock is fine. Okay. However, if it was ripped, a larger rip there, and when you walk, more than 3 toes show, then that leather sock is not allowed to be worn. You have to wear another leather sock. Okay. But if there was one a bit there, a bit there, a bit there, a bit there, okay, then you submit everything. And if everything equals to 3 toes or less, it's fine. If it's 3 toes or more, then obviously your leather sock, you cannot perform Masah on the leather sock. So what is the method of Masah? Okay. Now your religion, it invites you to easiness. Your religion is very easy. Okay. There are so many benefits of wearing the Masah, of wearing the Masah. For example, when you're traveling, okay. Now you'll see why it's so easy wearing this Masah when I tell you the method. Okay. When you perform wuzu, let's say you're wearing the Masah, so I go in now. I go to the toilet at 8 o'clock, my wuzu breaks, and I do wuzu again. I don't remove these, by the way. Okay, I should wear this for 24 hours, okay, maximum time limit. So let's say I'm doing wuzu, I do all my obligations, and I come to washing my feet. Instead of washing my feet, I wet my fingers, 3 fingers, and then I start from the toe, okay, tips of my toe, and I bring it up here, until the ankle. Khalas. That is the method. I do the same with the other toe, use my left hand. Okay. This is a simple method of Masah. So rather than washing the entire foot, this is all I do. I said. Okay, that is Masah on the leather sock. Now imagine you are traveling, you're on the motorway. Okay, you've no wuzu, and you go to the services. We all know how difficult it is. Okay, we all feel shy as well to put our feet in the sink. Okay, and people look at us thinking, what is he doing? Okay, and obviously you can use it if you feel shy, you can use the disabled toilets, but it is a problem. Okay, but look at the blessed sunnah of the messenger, that all you have to do is just wet your fingers and bend down and just wipe your feet and do the same. How easy is that? Even at work as well, where you may work in a place where there's no proper ablution facilities. Okay, so all you have to do is remove your feet and just do Masah. See how easy it is. You're using less time and it's very easy. Okay, sometimes people, they miss their salah for this reason. I've got to take my socks off, I've got to wash my feet. Now this is the state of the imam. And may Allah protect us from this. But it's so easy doing the Masah on the leather sock, as you all can see. So we should try and use this on a daily basis when you go to work. So you can wear it in the morning after performing wuzu. Then you go to the toilet, relieve yourself, your wuzu breaks, and quickly perform wuzu and just do Masah of the leather socks, and that's it. Okay? Well, this is the easiness of leather socks, the easiness of doing Masah on the leather socks.
We use left hand for ablution, for wuzu.
Yes.
For Masah, we use right hand.
You can use right hand for the right foot and left hand for the left foot. Because you're just doing it from the top. And there's not going to be chances of impurities being there. So left hand, right hand, and then left hand for the left foot. It's easier as well to do that. So what is the farz of Masah? Okay. Masah should be equal. So these have to be fulfilled for Masah when doing Masah. Masah should be equal to at least 3 small fingers of each foot. Okay? And you should do it on the top of the foot. So if somebody does it from the bottom, yeah, it will not count. It has to be from the top of the foot. Okay? And things which break Masah, things which invalidate doing Masah on the leather socks. So the things which break your wuzu, obviously, break your Masah. Means you have to do Masah again. end of the time period. So 24 hours finished, you have to take it off. It doesn't matter if you're in wuzu or not, you're going to take it off, perform wuzu, and then offer your namaz. Okay? And then take it off, perform wuzu, then you can put it back on again. Okay? There has to be that break. You have to come out of, take them off. Okay? This is the rule.
Is it not enough when you break your this muscle? So you can just wash your feet.
You have to do wuzu all over again. Yes, you have to do wuzu all over again, wash your feet, and then put them back on again. Yes. And let's say if you take, obviously you've got 24 hours, but if you take your socks off, leather socks off within 8 hours, obviously that breaks your masah. You've got to do wuzu again, wash your feet, and then you can put them back on again. So this is, in short, the rulings of Masah. And something similar to leather socks is, what's it called? But the bandages, okay, or tapes, okay. What's the ruling for that? Somebody's got hurt, he's got a massive wound, a massive cut, okay, on his parts of the body. And what are the rulings of that? The ruling is very simple. If there's any cut, any wound, something present on your body, which if you were to pass water over it, it will be very, very painful, or the illness will increase, or the repair time, okay, the time it takes for you to repair or correct the wound, it will take longer. Then the ruling is that you can pass a wet hand over it. So don't flow water, just pass a wet hand over it. Even if this is difficult, if this is going to be painful, then just place a cloth over it and do masah over the cloth. Okay, this is the ruling. As for a wound which has no bandage, but what if you've got bandages, okay, or taped wounds? You've broken your hand, you've got a whole bandage, you cast there, or you've got a very deep wound, then you put a tape or a bandage there. What's the ruling? The ruling is that firstly, if it's not very painful and if it's possible, you should remove the bandage and wash it properly. If that's not possible, the second stage is that you do masah over the wound. So you remove the plaster, but do masah, pass wet hands over the wound. If even that is painful, then you can just do masah over the bandage itself. Okay? So let's say I've got a wound, a very deep cut here, and I've put a bandage over it. Okay? I've wrapped it up. First thing I'll do is, okay, there's a wound there, let me open it first. Okay? Let me pass water over it. If it's very painful, then okay, let's do something. I'll wet my hand and I'll pass my wet hand over it. Okay? Even if that is painful, then leave the bandage as it is and just pass a wet hand over the bandage. And inshallah that will suffice.
What about if it's not painful? If you remove the bandage and it's bleeding, so what would you do then?
If it's bleeding, then obviously you have to wash the blood off. Okay, if it keeps on continuously bleeding, okay, then you obviously apply a pressure. So you just put the bandage back on again to apply that pressure and do masah over the bandage. That would be the ruling for that. So this is in short the rulings of masah and the rulings of doing masah over plasters and bandages and tapes, etc. Are there any more questions?
I'm just thinking, like I'm wearing this socks, can I wear that leather socks on this socks?
No.
No.
Leather socks should be this over your feet.
So only that socks I can wear.
Yes.
I have heard someone say leather socks should be pure leather, made of pure leather. But someone says that like resin and other materials used to make this kind of socks. So those also comes in this condition.
The ruling is that at least the sole should be waterproof, or the sole should be such that water cannot pass through it. If that is the case, then that's fine. It doesn't matter what's on top here. But the sunnah is that the entire sock is made of leather or some waterproof material. I mean, it doesn't have to be leather. It can be any other waterproof material. Yeah. And obviously, it has to be a material which is maybe water. You might get some material which are waterproof, but if you were to walk in them a few steps, they just tear and rip away. Then masah would not be permissible on those. With these you can walk. I mean, I've had these for a very long time now and they're mashallah still new. So that's the benefit of leather. So it should be a durable material, a hard wearing material. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the three fingers meaning they should be equal to the small toe of your foot. One finger. And these three, yeah, it's not which one there. So at least you can do it with these three. And let's do that. So from starting with tip and working your way up towards the ankle. That's the method of masah. Any other questions? Alhamdulillah. So inshallah next week I will not be here, but inshallah in 2 weeks time I will return and we shall then talk about the different types of water. What kind of water are we allowed to do wuzu with? What kind of water are we not allowed to do wuzu with? And then a few other chapters, that same Sunday, and that will finish our chapter on Tahara, on cleanliness. So inshallah, alhamdulillah, we've covered a lot. And then inshallah in 2 weeks to 3 weeks time, what we'll do is, we'll do a quick recap. And inshallah, I'm going to be speaking less and you're going to be speaking more. So I'm going to be testing you and seeing what you remember. And inshallah we shall do a quick recap of all the chapters we've covered, from ghusl, from tayammum, from wudu, to najasa, to masah, and all these chapters. Then inshallah we shall begin a very important chapter to do with salah, to do with namaz. So inshallah may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the ability to practice all these rulings, and give us the ability to take advantage of all these easinesses and all these sahulat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet has placed for us in this beautiful religion. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala sayyidil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adhaban nar. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Allahumma arzuqna ilman nafi'a wa rizqan halalan tayyiban wasi'a wa 'amalan mutaqabbalan wa shifaa'an min kulli da'. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.